Here I am testing another recipe. This is one that I've wanted to do for quite a while. This is the tasty chocolate cake. I've seen several reviews of this cake on YouTube and they're all great. And I really like chocolate cake. So it was only a matter of time. I'm finally able to do this. I'm gonna be having dinner at my parents' house later, so this is a good way to spread the wealth and not have to eat this whole cake by myself. So I'm gonna start by combining my dry and then my wet ingredients separately, which I'm intrigued as to why they used all-purpose instead of cake flour, if it was just for convenience of the consumer or for an actual reason. Baking powder, baking soda, and some Dutch processed cocoa powder. I'll add the rest in a minute. Just sifting out all the lumps. The cocoa powder is notorious for having lumps, and I just find it always makes for a better final product if you sift the dry ingredients. So it's always worth it. Nope! Prince. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Alright, so those are ready to go now for my wet ingredients. I'll just say I'm not doing this recipe 100% accurately because there's a couple changes that I have to make. The first being with the stout that they add. I don't have stout, so I'm just going to use sherry cooking wine. From what I've read, I don't think this is going to make a huge difference, so we'll find out. And also the espresso powder, which I love in my desserts, and a good bit of vanilla extract. Alright, in the meantime, we're going to cream our butter and sugar, and I'm using my stand mixer for that. I almost never use hand mixers just because I have this and it's too easy. Alright, let's let it rip. Probably should have softened this butter beforehand, but they didn't mention doing that, so I thought it would be okay. Either way, I'm going to give this a few minutes and I'll be back. Alright, that's looking good, so I'm going to add in my eggs. I'm going to get this nice and whipped up as well. Alright, now comes the fun part, which is the mayo. I know a lot of people rave about this being weird, and I know I'm not going to convince anybody that already believes that, but this is just oil and eggs. It's normal stuff that goes in a cake. And use a kitchen scale so you don't have to clean out a measuring cup. So now we're going to alternate putting in the dry and wet ingredients, about a third of each at a time. Alright, looking good. Now final step is to fold in this chopped chocolate, which I went ahead and just chopped one of these Baker's chocolate bars. I've made lots of brownies, but I've never made chocolate cake, but it is by far one of my favorite desserts. I don't know why it took me this long to try it. And now I'm going to attempt to distribute this batter evenly across these 3 cake pans. I feel like I'm not really good at this and I feel like they're going to be uneven. I could use a kitchen scale, but I'm just too lazy. Alright. We're going to bake these for about 35 minutes, and I'll be back when they're done. Alright, now these have been baked and they're slightly cooled in the pans, so I'm going to overturn them onto the racks to let them cool completely. Just love how flat these came out, no doming. Very nice. I'm afraid of these grates being too wide, so I'm going to put this onto this smaller grate with the other cake. Okay, I'm going to get these to a cat-free zone so they can be completely cooled. And I've got a judo class to go to, but when I come back, we'll make some buttercream and finish this cake. Alright, now I'm going to make the buttercream. I am making a couple adjustments to the recipe. For one, I'm going to be adding some salt to it because I think it needs salt. There's no salt in the recipe. And 2, I don't have any milk, so I'm going to use whipping cream to thin it out. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference because it's such a small amount, and I almost never go and buy whole milk unless I'm using it in bulk, and this is only a few tablespoons. So first I'm going to go in with my softened butter. I'm using 3/6 or a cup and a half. I feel like everybody remembers that existential crisis you have when you realize what cake frosting is actually made of. Just mounds of pure butter and sugar mixed together. It's kind of gross, but we still love it all the same. So I'm going to get that mixed up with a good bit of vanilla extract. Okay, now I'm going to add in my cocoa powder, and at this point is when I'm going to add in the salt as well. Just a pinch should do. Just with something so sweet, I think the salt is necessary to balance it. Start slowly. This is a far quicker and easier process to make buttercream than the foreign buttercreams that I've tried so far on this channel. I've never done an American style buttercream, but it's really just butter and powdered sugar, whereas those foreign ones have some kind of meringue or some kind of egg mixture that you start with. But this one's said to be much sweeter, which for some people I guess is better than not. So now little by little, I'm gonna add in some powdered sugar while it's slowly mixing, just because I don't wanna make a mess like they say in the video. All right, it's pretty thick, so I need to start adding in some of this heavy cream to start thinning it out. Just a little more. Buttercream is one of the simplest and most delicious, but also most unhealthy substances known to humanity. Okay, so now for one of the banes of my existence, and that is cake decorating. I just was not born with whatever talent it takes to do this kind of stuff, but I am willing to learn. So I'm gonna start with a little dab of the buttercream on the bottom to keep the bottom piece of cake stuck. Now on with my first cake. This one kind of tore a little while I was putting it on the rack. Hopefully it's okay. So they say to put a good bit on each layer. Just trying to make it even. Okay, I feel like that's pretty even. I might be eating my words in a little bit, but let's find out. Okay, now with layer 2, and we just repeat. It definitely feels like this is tilting one way, which means that I probably put too much frosting on one side, but it's really hard for me to tell. Oh well. It's probably as good as it's gonna get. Even if you're not good at this, it's still pretty satisfying to do, so I do enjoy it. Just gonna get these little mounds around the sides so I can give it that crumb coat. I'm just gonna give it a little wavy design, just because I don't know what else to do. Okay, I wouldn't say that's terrible. I could have done worse. Wouldn't it be hilarious if this thing slid off onto the floor right now? All I'm gonna do is touch up the edges with a napkin, make sure there's no extra frosting laying around. Like I said, I'm bringing this to my parents' house, so I'm not gonna taste test yet. I'm probably gonna have some left over, so hopefully I'll do a taste test at a later date. But until then, this was my attempt at the tasty chocolate cake. Vanilla milk. So I did save enough to fortunately have a taste test. Of course, I already ate this with my family, so this isn't going to be a genuine first time reaction. But come on, still gotta film it for the camera. You can tell my layers of frosting were definitely uneven. Oh well. I told y'all I'm not a cake decorator. Cheers. Yeah, I feel like that tastes just as good the second day. Super rich, super decadent, all the adjectives you'd use to describe a chocolate dessert. I think the sweetness is really well balanced between the cake and the frosting. I love the hit of espresso. I've come to acquire that taste, and I think I kind of enjoy it now. Still don't like generic coffee though. But yeah, I see why all the reviews on this were super high, and a lot of people recommend it. I will say I'm probably not a huge fan of the chocolate chunks in this cake. I don't think they taste bad or that they're a bad texture, but I just feel like it's kind of a waste to put it in here. I think it's already rich enough without them, and you're just wasting a bar of chocolate, which they kind of cost a lot. Whereas alternatively, in a chocolate chip cookie, for instance, they're far superior to chocolate chips in my opinion. And in a brownie recipe, they add a really necessary rich pocket of chocolate amongst the rest of the cakey brownie. I just don't think a cake needs it, so I'm not gonna add it next time. Yeah, it's super chewy, super fluffy. Again, it's really rich. I really like this frosting, which, side note, I keep my cakes in the fridge when they have buttercream frosting because I feel like butter is kept in the fridge, so I feel like if I keep these out at room temperature, they're not gonna sit right. I don't know if I'm right or wrong in that. Let me know if you know more about buttercream. But I don't know what else to say. I really like chocolate cake to begin with. I had never made it before, so this is my favorite recipe as of now. I would like to make a different kind. Do you have a chocolate cake recipe that you swear by? Let me know. I had been wanting to try to make this for a really long time, so I'm glad I had the excuse of going to my parents' house to make it. But if you're watching my videos like this, I really appreciate it. I know I'm just throwing together a recipe that I didn't create, and it doesn't have as much editing or commentary, but it's really helpful to me because I don't always have a lot of bandwidth to make videos with how my schedule is, but I still like to have something to put out, so I do stuff like this in the meantime. Again, let me know if you'd like to see more from me or what you'd like to see more, and I'll try to get working on it. As always, thank you all for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see y'all next time.